Hello members, and welcome to Jurassic Park. Oh no, that's wrong. I mean, welcome to my setup. This is what I use to make my videos. I'm gonna turn the ceiling light on so that way it's a little bit easier to see everything. This is my absolute mess of a setup. Real quick, we can kind of go over the software that I use. There's only really 3 pieces of software that I actually use, and that is OBS, as is tradition, Lightworks for video editing. I just find it to be really easy to use, and a third program called Irion. Irion is a program that allows you to use the camera from your phone on your PC, either through Wi-Fi or through a cable. It works reasonably well. It is a little finicky from time to time, and like sometimes there is just a nasty amount of latency, and sometimes it just likes to skip frames. I'm working on trying to find a better solution, but for now this is the best I got. But that's pretty much it for software side of things. Now we can talk about the good stuff, the hardware. And when I say good, we're gonna start with my least favorite things that I use. Least favorite thing number 1 are these lights. These are terrible. So these things are made by Bauer, and this is their like 2-pack creator light kit. This is the second pair I've had to buy, and I've only been doing YouTube for a year. So yeah, wouldn't recommend these. They have a lot of options for like doing RGB lights and different colors of white. This kind of yellowy white seems to be the best for my camera, so that way my skin tone actually looks like skin instead of my earlier videos where I just kind of looked like a ghost. Now, the other thing that I don't really like about my setup, we'll actually talk about a little bit later, and that is the actual computer that I use, but we'll get to that. But for some of the more boring hardware stuff, some gigabyte monitor. I don't know. I found this at a dumpster. I don't know exactly what it is, but it is 1440p and 144 hertz. I don't know who was throwing this out. Left side monitor is another dumpster rescue, a BenQ of some description. It's 1080p. That's about as much as I know about it, and it's great for a secondary monitor. This one is an old Vizio TV that I also found near a dumpster. You may notice a theme with my setup, but this TV works fine. It looks okay when you have something on it, but the moment the screen's off, you see all the little scuffs and scrapes that this screen has. Oh, and there's my duck. His name's Beefcake. I think he's made an appearance in one other video. Can't forget about the fan for when I get too toasty. Microphone. This is a Samsung Meteor mic. I've had this thing for like 6 years. It's great. Logitech G305 for my mouse. All the gaming mouse you ever need. Literally anything more expensive than this is an absolute waste of money. Keyboard is an MX Keys Mini. I really don't like mechanical keyboards because of how loud they are. And I also don't care for the long travel those keys have. So I prefer something like this. So this is a Fosse Audio K5 Pro, and these are Sennheiser HD 579s, I think. These are really old Sennheisers. They're fine. I actually prefer my earbuds anyway. These are some ancient Razer Hammerhead earbuds, and these are KZ somethings. I don't remember what these are. I know they're KZs. I'll put a picture on screen of what they actually are. And then this is like a little Bluetooth adapter thing that you can plug them into. These are primarily what I use for doing video editing or just using my PC in general. Or if I need to be slightly more aware of my surroundings, I'll use these Razer ones. 8-bit DO Ultimate controller. Definitely my controller of choice right now. I've got 2 different Type-C cables. This one goes to the PC and the white one goes to the Steam Deck. Perfect time to segue to the Steam Deck. It's what I play most of my games on because my computer can't handle playing games and recording at the same time. We'll get to the computer in a minute. And here we have my game consoles and a can of compressed air. I forgot that was there until now. So yeah, these are the only consoles that I actually have right now. Xbox 360 Slim. I don't remember where this came from. I may have actually bought this one. This launch model PlayStation 3, however, I didn't buy this. This was given to me because someone thought it was broken. And the only thing wrong with it was that it was set up to output through AV and not HDMI. Once I fixed that, it has been working ever since. I've had it for like 3 years. I opened it up. I repasted everything. Oh, I love this thing so much. Now, this Xbox One X has a bit of a funky story to it. Here, I gotta be careful here because I left the price tag on it, but I have to cover up a few things because it's a very, very local game shop that I bought this from. That's right. Your eyes do not deceive you. I paid $5 for this thing. Reason for that, at my local game store, this thing was completely disassembled and it was just all in one giant Ziploc bag, and they were selling it for $5 as a broken unit. Turns out the only thing wrong with it is that the pins from the HDMI connector were like peeling away, so the HDMI port just needed to be replaced. I'm not very good at soldering. I've only successfully soldered one thing in my life, and that was the IPS mod for my PSP 1000. Haven't touched soldering since then. So my solution was I just kind of massaged those pins back into place and just covered the connector in hot glue so it can't move. Amazing. Finally, it's time to talk about the PC. The keen-eyed among you may have noticed this. This isn't a PC. This is a bizarre AliExpress spec eGPU setup. I actually don't remember what this thing is called. I'll put a picture of it on screen. So if we follow our Thunderbolt cable to down here, you can see my Dell XPS 15 7590. This thing's got, what is it? An i7 9750H, which is 6 cores and 12 threads, has a completely worthless GTX 1650 in it. And the reason I say it's worthless is because I don't know how Dell configured the power, but it really only wants to give power to the CPU, and the GPU just like really struggles with anything moderately intensive. Other than that, I've upgraded to have 32 gigs of RAM because 16 just wasn't enough while I was trying to edit videos. But because that 1650 is so absolutely unusable, I just have it disabled in Device Manager, and my actual GPU is this RX 5700 XT. So I've been without an actual dedicated GPU for a while now, and I was looking for something that had roughly like 1080 Ti levels of performance, but I didn't want to spend a whole lot of money. Turns out you can get RX 5700 XTs for about 130, 150 bucks. That's a lot of GPU for 130 bucks. I would do a little bit more research than what I did. When this arrived, the fans were completely shot. Like, they would spin, but they were grumpy. They were very grumbly, angry fans. They were so upset that whenever they spun, it rattled the entire shroud of the GPU. And my short-term solution, I'll put some pictures of it on screen, was to just add a whole bunch of tension to the shroud with a series of rubber bands. And it worked. It was still loud because the fans were grumbly, but it didn't rattle anymore. You may notice there's no rubber bands anymore. I have actually replaced the fans. So now this thing is whisper quiet, which is why it's on top of the desk. And the laptop is down here because this thing is so noisy. I swear, it runs its fans at full blast all the time, no matter what. Someday I would love to get rid of you and have an actual desktop again. I can't complain too much though, because I did buy this for $20. I know, it sounds insane, but pretty much all of my tech is secondhand, but this in particular, the exchange with this was absolutely insane. So a long time ago, I had a coworker who was probably not the most financially sound person I've ever met. I was doing some computer repair at the time, and he asked me to take a look at this, because according to him, it was overheating and running really, really slow. And just bear in mind, he was primarily using this for gaming, and I straight up told him in the first place, before I even took it apart and looked at it, a Dell XPS is not a gaming machine. It's not meant for that. But regardless, I gave it a look over, I opened it up, I cleaned it, put new thermal paste on, and it performed exactly the same. And when I told him that, he just kind of shrugged and was like, well, I've got this new Alienware laptop now, so I don't really need it anymore. And then he said, do you want it? And I said, sure, how much do you want for it? Because I have a lot of gripes with this laptop, but it's still a really nice laptop. This screen, it's 4K OLED. It's still a great laptop. The battery still holds up really well. So I was expecting to pay several $100s for it. He looked me dead in the eyes and said, it's still a good laptop. I want 20 bucks for it. Absolutely insane. This was the same day he got bit by a squirrel on a public bench. But yeah, that's pretty much my whole setup. That's what I use. I would really like to upgrade it at some point, but I feel like that's probably a few years away at this point. It's worth saying it wasn't always like this. I did have a really, really good desktop PC at one point. i7 8700K, and a RX 7900 XT. It was so good. It was amazing. I had to sell it because I needed money. But it's okay because I'm just an accumulator of computer hardware. So that's why I had a spare 1000 watt power supply. I know this makes no sense for an eGPU, but it was from my old rig. But that's it. That's the setup. And to all my members so far, thank you so much for supporting me. It really means a lot to me. Feel free to judge me harshly in the comments below, because I know this is an absolute mess.